right, so this problem reads, it states a bicycle is originally priced at $80. The store owner gives a discount and the bicycle is now priced at $60. What is the percent discount for the cost of the bicycle? All right, so we're trying to see how much percent off uh, this is. So when I read this part right here, I think, okay, what is the percent off? Percent off. Right, so I'm trying to envision that sign in the building, like, oh, what is that number? And then over here, this is the original price is $80, right? So I write that down on the side here. Original price is $80. Okay. And since that's the original in my head, I start to think of, well, that must be my 100%. That's my whole right there. And then once the owner gives me a discount, the bicycle is now $60. So this right here is the discount price, right? So the discount price is going to be $60. Okay. And there's two ways you could approach this problem, right? So right now, I don't know the percentage for this one. Okay, so I don't know what percent that represents there. Okay. So I'll show you two ways you could think about this. That way you could arrive to the answer. So I'll show you two ways. So this is method one. We'll call this method one. Okay. So I have the discount price and the $80, right? Okay. And notice that we're trying to find out the percent off. Okay. So what we want to do is set up proportion. So we have here. Okay. So I'll put the percents on one side and the prices on the other. Okay, so right here I'll put percents here, and then prices here. Okay, so I know 100%. That's the original, so that'll be the 80 right there. Okay, and the thing is, I don't know the percent for the $60, so I'll put 60 here, and I'll put X right here because I don't know what that is, right? Okay, let me delete this because this kind of looks kind of funky here. So out of 100, okay. All right. So one method I always encourage you to do is like, well, how do I go from 80 to 100, right? But let's suppose you're running out of time. You're like, I don't have time to do all that. Okay, there's another method we discussed on how to solve proportions, right? So what you want to do is leave x by itself. So notice x is up here and it's being divided by 100. So what you can do is actually solve for this equation, because this is technically an equation right here. So the opposite of division is going to be multiplications, and I want to undo this dividing by 100. So what I do is that I go ahead and I'm going to multiply to undo division. I'm going to multiply by 100, and I do that to both sides of the equation. Okay. So there's a 1 underneath here, so what happens is that this creates a giant 1 there, and I'm just left with x. Okay? And then, on the other side, this also has a giant 1. So I'm just going to multiply right here, so I have 60 times 100. It gives me 6,000 over, and then 80 times 1 gives me 80. Okay, so then what I'll do is that I could simplify this. This is called zero crunching. Okay, so I crunch those zeros out, and I have technically 600 over 8. Okay, so then I get to this part right here, and I go ahead and divide this, right? And luckily, I could go here and click on the calculator. Okay, and I'll have 600 divided by 8, and I get 75. So I get X is equal to 75%. So this represents here is 75%. But if you take a look at the question, is asking what is the percent discount? Okay, that means how much did they take off? Okay, so notice that you went from let's put it like this. Let's see if this works here. So you went from 100 to 75. You could see the highlighted part there. So what happens was that since you went from 100 to 75, so you went from 100, let me undo that and put the pen back. You went from 100% to 75%. Okay, that means that you had 25% off. So this is the discounted price. It was 25% off because you're only paid 75% of the original price. Okay, so this is one method you can use to do it. Another one would be if I go ahead and click here. Another way you could think of it, okay, let's say you had this one here, and again, we do not know what percent off it is, right? So notice on the original one right here, the first method, I focus on the discounted price here, right? But the thing is, I still have the original. So the original is still $80, right? And your discounted price, notice I'm still writing the same information, it's 60 bucks, right? But the thing is, you went from here to here, and they took off, if you didn't notice, they took off $20. So what I'm going to do is put this piece of information. It was discounted. Whoops, let me undo that. It was discounted by 20 bucks, right? So when I set up the proportion, instead of using the 60, I'm going to use the 20 to help me figure out the percent off a little bit quicker. So again, I still set up my proportion. Okay, I have 100, because that's my original, out of 60 here. So it's not a 60, out of 80. I misspoke there, my bad. Okay, I still don't know the percent, but I do know that they took off 20 bucks. So instead of a 60, I put the 20 up here. So I'm still going to solve the equation the same way I did it before. I go ahead and multiply by 100 on both sides. Okay, this creates a giant 1, and so I get X here. There's an invisible 1 down here, just like when we were doing the proportion maze. 100 times 20 will give me 2,000 over, and then 80. Okay, you could do the zero crunching if you like, but you can leave it like that. And let's see here. If I use the calculator, so let me hit enter. I believe I said 2,000 this time. So I'll have 2,000 divided by 80. And notice this time around I get 25, right? So I get 25. So this means that this is 25% off. That's how much they took off. They took off 20 bucks. And notice right here, this is 75%, and this is 100%. So notice if I add these two right here, it gives me the total of 100, because 60 plus 20 gives me 80, 75% plus the one they took off gives me 100%. All right, so two methods you can use to solve this question. But again, right here you want to focus on the percent off, because that's the percent discount. And again, just review your notes from Mathia. If you haven't done the Mathia, I suggest you do. That way you could review percent problems.